our pranams to Bhagavan. We pray that our discussions are fruitful and enable us to make progress. And again, sign up. So the topic, we are still discussing the topic, understanding the small I. And then this is really a journey. And gradually this journey should lead us to understanding from going from the small I to V, and then from V to I am, the supreme I. Okay.
Satham?
Satham?
Request to do 3 ohms.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Om. 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 Sairam once again to everyone. So we are on the 5th session in our in the theme that was given to us by the Sai International Organization, which is basically the journey from small I to V and then to He or I am. He stands for Baba here. So this is the journey, this is the theme for our study circle topic. And this is the 5th week we are into this topic. So we have been focusing on trying to get an understanding of the small I so far. And we'll continue with that this week as well as the next week. And then we'll move on to the next topic, which is part of the next step in our journey. So in terms of understanding small I, where are we so far? I try to capture that. Is everyone able to see my slide?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you play it? Yeah.
Yeah, I am.
Perfect. Oh, you did.
Yeah. Is it? I'm blowing it up to the full screen.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect.
Okay. So, I should also express my gratitude to Dr. Patel, who was helpful in clarifying some of the doubts. Here's what it is. The Paramatma is the supreme self, and that is where we want our journey to take us, to the Paramatma. So we are now functioning as a Jivatma, in this world, in this in the present circumstances, we are functioning as a Jivatma. And all of us are able to experience I-ness, the fact that I am, I need this, I want this, or I enjoyed this. When we say that, there is an entity in us, or there is an entity that is that thinks that he is the karta, is the bhokta, is the enjoyer, is the doer. It wants to do things, it wants to experience, it wants to enjoy. That I is what we call it as ahamkara. Now, what is the relationship between this Jivatma and ahamkara? The Jivatma, when it forgets its real Swarupa or real nature, it falsely identifies itself with ahamkara. So today, if I am not a realized soul, or if I am not in the path of self-realization, to understand my true nature, I identify myself with this small I or this ahamkara. Now, how does this ahamkara function? The ahamkara's main tool is manas, or the mind, which directs the indriyas, like our senses, eyes, hearing, all those senses are being directed by the manas. And by directing the indriyas, it receives inputs from the external world, and the buddhi processes that information and feeds the ahamkara, and the ahamkara is able to experience the information that it receives. Like, for example, whether happiness, enjoyment, or sadness, everything this ahamkara is experiencing, and the jivatma, which is falsely identifying itself as ahamkara, therefore experiences. So what happens is the jivatma, or the ahamkara, through ahamkara, becomes the recipient not only of the experiences, but also the gunas, or the effect of the karmas that go with all our actions. That also gets deposited into the jivatma's account. The good and bad, everything gets deposited in the jivatma's account. So when the jivatma starts its new birth, new life, this account is carried into the next life. So the pluses and minuses of this birth is carried by the jivatma into the next birth. So that's how we understand the effects of our karma. Whatever karma we do in this life or in our earlier life, depending on the type of karma, depending on the timeline, the jivatma experiences either those karmas, effect of those karma in this life itself, or it carries it to the next life. So now, how is the manas? We know that some people tend to do a lot of good karmas. Some are inclined to do bad karmas. There is a wide variety of there is a wide spectrum in which we place individuals. Some always consider service as their they do service. They try to seek the goodness for others, help others. Some take advantage of the society they live in. So there is a wide spectrum of people that we come across. But how are those tendencies driven? And that is coming from the gunas. I have listed next to manas the gunas. And what these gunas do, it is the accumulated tendencies from previous actions, mostly coming from previous births, and it tries to influence the mind or the manas to basically make the senses act. See that the senses as well as the body are acting under the direction of manas, and the manas itself is being driven by the gunas. Now, like I said, the buddhi has the capacity to either lead properly or mislead. Buddhi can, vinasha kale viparita buddhi, we say. So buddhi can also mislead a person. If manas provides the information to buddhi and it processes that information, but the feedback that the buddhi provides can either lead the manas in the right direction or in the wrong direction. So again, buddhi by itself is only a processor of information. So on the one hand, the gunas try to receive the input, the natural tendencies. The gunas provide those inputs to the manas. Manas processes that with the buddhi and then decides to act through the body, mind, body and the indriyas. So this understanding is very important. So whether we do good activities or bad activities, it is all in the realm of the small I. We are still not, even though so far we have been attributing generally the wrong doings to the small I, but in terms of all our actions that we do, good or bad, it is done in the field of small I. It is done by the Jivatma that identifies itself with Ahamkara. So I want this point, to be well grounded, because this understanding would be important to carry on with our journey to the next steps. So at this point, I would briefly pause here to invite comments from the participants. Anybody wants to make a comment at this point? I want to share something very interesting. My son, who was overhearing the conversation last week, told me that, Daddy, you must be doing a bad job, because when you ask people to comment, nobody comes forward and comments. They must be all be feeling very much bored by your discussion. He was commenting. I want you all to disprove that. Come forward and just, whatever is your understanding, how you interpret the information. It is always helpful. It gives me a feedback to know that, yeah, I have been communicating effectively or not. Yeah, I'll pause for a few more minutes to asking you to, inviting you to make some comments. Are you all hearing me?
Yes, can hear. Yes.
Oh, okay. You can all. Okay, now I'm going to switch to readings from Baba, basically exploring further what Swami has to say with regard to this topic. Okay, I'm going to go to the sharing screen again. So this is a question and answer session from Swami. And I would like to have a volunteer to read this passage. Who is going to take up reading this passage? Anybody? Any volunteer to read? Ranjani ji, do you want to read? Sai Ram Ranjani, you want to read this? Not sure whether Ranjani ji, you have to unmute to read it. Hello?
If you want, I'll read. Otherwise.
Yes, Suresh, go ahead. Yeah, thank you.
Questions answered. The fulfillment of man's life on earth consists of filling oneself with love of God and transmitting that love into acts of service. Service of man who is the embodiment of love, God. If man has no love in him, and if he does not share it with all beings, he is but a burden to the earth. Make your emotions pure. Make your mind strong to resist the force of ignorance and the wiles of the senses. Then you are assured of peace and joy. You maintain health by physical exercise. So too, you must maintain mental health. For the mind can lead you into bondage or liberation by means of certain exercises. By means of pure food, the mind can be rendered subtle and sharp. It can then cut through the obstacles and temptations, rend the veil of misconception. You must also try to be constantly in a good environment, a good company, a spiritual organization. In the spiritual organization, members do not discuss about what can be seen or heard or touched or tasted. They are interested in investigation of the unseen, the basic truth beyond the senses, outer and inner. The processes by which the mind helps or hinders the individual's journey to God. Mind has to be subordinated to buddhi. The mind is also called a karana, an instrument. Karana, an instrument. The senses are instruments which are used to contact nature and gather information about objects. Mind is the overall instrument which controls and directs the senses. It is called antakarma.
Antakarana.
Antakarana, the inner instrument. Higher than the mind is the buddhi, intellect, which analyzes and categorizes the impressions as gathered by the mind through the senses. The buddhi is subordinate to chitta, that is consciousness as such, and the ego or the I sense, which is fundamental for the individual. The mind has to be subordinate to buddhi, but usually it serves the senses, which are but its servants. That is how the mind leads man into bondage. Number of people have handed over the questions to me regarding the nature of mind. So, though I have often explained this in my discourses, I shall speak about it again. You are all now in Prashanti Nilayam, gathered in this hall. But if your mind is wandering in Madras or Calcutta, you will not be seeing the man sitting in the line before yours. Or hear me speak, though I am speaking so loud. Though your eyes and ears are present here, effective and sound, if your mind is not controlling them and directing them, the senses are powerless. They cannot transmit any information to Antakarana. The operations of hearing, smelling, seeing, tasting, and getting the feel of touch cannot be done effectively and meaningfully if the mind is engaged otherwise. The body is as a torch. The eyes are its bulbs. Intellect is the switch, but the essential cell is the mind. You may have fresh bulbs. The switch may be on. The torch may be brand new, but if the cell is not in position, the torch will not emit light. Sarah. Do you want me to continue?
Yeah.
Okay. But beyond the mind and beyond reason and consciousness and the I sense is the Atma. The reality, the cosmic I or God. Want me to go ahead or?
Yeah, why don't you, or we can allow a few minutes for people to, comment on it.
Sure. Thank you.
And otherwise, if there are no comments, we can move on. Yeah. Anybody wants to interject with a few comments on what we have read?
Satham, I think that's probably one of the toughest things to control, like, is our senses. even though we're here, are we here? Even though we're listening, are we really listening? You know, to and then to what level are we listening, and to what level are our senses engaged in the current event that we're dealing with? You know, and then if it's not, how do you control it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the mind is fickle, we know, but what is causing it? What is causing that fickleness in the mind? Why are we not able to focus? Suppose I'm listening to Swami's lecture, suddenly my mind, like Swami says, goes to some other place. And why is that happening? Can somebody explore that a little more? Why is that the fickleness is associated with the mind? I think one of the ways to understand is, see, when we are listening to something, obviously the mind is receiving that inputs, and when the buddhi processes that information and feeds back to the mind immediately connects that thought or connects that information to something in the past, um, to something in the past through that information. For example, through that thought. For example, so there is something Swami says, and immediately my mind analyzes, oh God, this happened to me in Madras. Immediately the mind gets a different association through the memory. That's that happens often when you're reading a book. When you're halfway through the book and in some important passages, immediately your mind connects to something else, and then you're lost from the present. I think it is partly due to the memory, partly due to the constant association that the mind, one of the troubles with our mind is it constantly seeks associations from the past, and that's what is responsible for its, to some extent, its fickleness. And that's why Swami often says that, be in the present, be in the present. Either when your mind seeks association in the past or what could be the future, then you're no more in the present and you lose the connection with the present. I think meditation is one of the techniques by which you're trained to focus on the present, and I think that Swami talks about it later. So, are there any more comments that anybody wants to make at this point? If not, we'll continue with the reading. Rational knowledge is it. Who wants to read this time? Dilip? I think I see that Dilip has unmuted his mic.
I can read.
Okay, go ahead.
Rational knowledge is illusory knowledge. Rational knowledge, or knowledge accumulated by the exercise of the senses and stored and sifted by reason, is but illusory knowledge. It is worldly material knowledge subject to correction or modification. The knowledge about the five elements, earth, water, fire, wind, and space, derived through the five senses, which are so framed that each can sense the special attribute of each element: earth, smell; water, taste; fire, form; wind, touch; in space sound is illusory. How can you be content living in this illusory world, gathering and relying on this illusory knowledge? Realize the person beyond all illusion, who is the creator of this illusion, who is revealed in and through this illusion. Worldly knowledge is of the temporary, the particular, the finite, the individual. How can it reveal the eternal, the universal, the infinite, the absolute? The Veda has the answer. It asks us to analyze our dream experience. Dreams are unreal, they are illusory. But yet, for us, as long as we are dreaming, the experience is real and valid, often in the dreams as such of the illusory experience itself. Awareness of such extreme is created through fear or horror or pain or excitement, that the person dreaming wakes and the dream is destroyed. What has caused the awakening? The dream itself helped in the destruction of the dream. So too is this wakeful dream in the illusory world where every wakeful experience is deemed true and valid. Some experience, or the roar of the Vedas in the Mahavakyas, divine axioms which ring through the sacred texts, wakes man into the higher awareness.
Continue.
The universe is only relatively real. Some questions handed over to me relate to creation and how it came into being. Well, if you can understand how your dreams come into being, you can know how this creation came into being. Sleep causes dreams. The Maya, the deluding power of the divine, has caused this creation. This universe is as unreal as the dream. It is only relatively real. It is not absolutely real. The Vedic sages, out of the illumination of their purified intellects, declared in bliss for all mankind to know Tatvam Asi, thou art that. Pragnanam Brahma, wisdom is that. Ayam Atma Brahmam, this I is that. Aham Brahmashmi, I am that. I am everything. I am the supreme. I am the one without a second. When these depth-stirring declarations reverberate in the heart, men awaken to the vision of truth, the realization that you are the Atman, and that there is nothing except the Atman anywhere at any time. This is self-realization. It is the Atma Sakshatkara, the realization of the Atma by the Atma of yourself, by yourself as the self. This is also called Bhuma, the vast limitless, the chainless, the unaffected by time and space. The Bhumi, this earth, is limited. It has a past and future different from the present. So it can never reveal the truth. Bhuma alone can reveal it. So live in the Bhuma, breathe the Bhuma, think, plan, and act in the limitless, the chainless that is in you.
We can stop here, Tamesh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll allow a few minutes for people to think and then we can come. Anybody would like to make a comment on what we have read? I mean, our goal should be to connect to our main theme, which is understanding the small I. So what Swami is saying is, the world of small I is but an illusory world. Whether, whatever knowledge we might possess from this world, whatever activities we do, they all contribute. They are all in the realm of the illusory world, And Swami also is telling us that the illusory world cannot reveal the real truth, and it has to necessarily come from the revealed knowledge from the scriptures. We can reason out only to that extent, but it is like reasoning out in your dream. It has the dream, whatever experiences we undergo in the dream is not revealing the vacant state. It is still in the dream world. We experience, we go through all the experiences, but still it has not much connection to the real wakeful world, or the shukti, the avastha of the awakening world. So the real knowledge can only be delivered by the great teachers, one who have realized themselves, as well as the great Vedic text that declare that indeed you are that, or Prajnanam Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, etc., etc. Tattvamasi. So that's what Swami is really implying, that in order to get the true knowledge, yam yavesha vridate thena labhya, there is Upanishadic statement. So that knowledge is self-revealed, and as he put it, it is the Atma which realizes the realization that you are the Atman, and there is nothing except the Atman anywhere. This is self-realization. It is the Atma Sakshatkara, the realization of the Atma by the Atma of yourself, by yourself as the self. This sentence conveys one very important thing, that for this self-realization, you don't need the aid of anything else. Everything is done by the Atma itself, the subject itself. You don't need the aid of the illusory world. You don't need the good karmas or bad karmas to make you to get to that realization. It is simply done by the Atma, by yourself as the self. Okay, we'll continue with further reading. You desire God not for God's sake. Who wants to read this passage now? Vali, you want to read this, Vali?
Yes.
Thank you.
Hiram, you desire God not for the God's sake. Can you hear me?
Yeah, everybody. I could hear. Yeah.
Okay. You are the very center of your desires and activity. You crave happiness for your own sake. Your truth is in your own self. Even when you try to make others happy, it's your own happiness that you are after. You love a trillion shirt, not for the sake of the shirt, but for your own sake. You desire a sweet dish not for the dish's sake, certainly. The, the mother fondles a child for her own satisfaction. You desire God, not for God's sake, but for your own sake. And what is this you which desires, which serves, which tries, which earns, and which is satisfied, or pleased, or happy? It is the I which makes you and every other conscious being declare T, T, T.
No, I.
Sorry, sorry, I. Now you ignore this I and you affirm that you are the body with the equipment and its implements, its instruments. This ignorance, this misconception has originated from the very principle which endows you with wisdom and light. The sun produces light as well as the cloud that hides it from view. The eye that sees produces the cataract which clouds and often closes the vision. From the same atmic principle which illuminates and vitalizes is born the Maya, which is illusion, that hides and confuses. The fire, the fire from the embers creates ashes which cover up the embers. But we can blow off the ashes and reveal the cinders. The cataract can be removed. Clouds are wafted away by the wind. So too sadhana can remove the veil of illusion which hides the inner eye from the consciousness, the Atma from our awareness. As regards sadhana, I have here a number of questions. They ask, we are serving others, relieving their pain or misery. We are feeding the hunger, poor. We are engaged in many good acts. Are these not sadhana? But this is not service to others. It is service to yourself. A person may invite all of you, office bearers, for a dinner, and he may declare afterwards, I gave a dinner to all the delegates. He too sat and ate with all the delegates, and so he served himself too. When he served others, when he served the others, did not he? He derived joy as a result of the dinner he arranged, and so it was a piece of service rendered to himself ultimately. Want me to continue?
Yeah, continue. Yeah.
Good thoughts will get desires in good forms. When you feel that it is not the other whom you are serving, but yourself, then your service will be better and more effective. Establish this attitude more and more firmly in your mind. If you do good, you get good from those around you and from the universal entity. God, if you do bad, you get bad. Divinity but resounds, reflects, reacts. God has no favorites, no prejudice. The, the thought creates the desire creates a form through which it is expressed. Have, a, have good thoughts, you get desires in good forms. Ahalya was lying as a stone for many years as a result of the curse of her husband. Inside the stone, there persisted human thought, which was again turned into human form with the touch of Rama's feet. If Ahalya had become a stone with no trace of thought, she would not have emerged as a woman from it. So, unless all trace of thought is destroyed, the form will sprout and grow and decline. That is to say, birth and death are inevitable. The Ramayana gives another example of the power of thought. Ravana was a great person who, who, had, who, had, who had mastered the spiritual text and who was earnest in spiritual observances. Every morning he used to go to the round of many temples of Shiva. He had mastered the 4 Vedas and the 6 Shastras, and so he was praised and depicted as having 10 heads. His queen Mandodari lamented over her husband's defeat and death at the hands of a mere man leading a host of monkeys. She had learned from the Shastras that death caused by drowning or by the fall from the tree or through monkeys converts the dead into ghost that wanders in the realm of darkness. So she wondered why such a fate overtook the great scholar, the pious devotee that Ravana was. Then she remembered that the spark of lust that he harbored in his heart had burned all that scholarship and all that pity into ashes. He was not able to control his senses or sublimate his sensory urges. The bullock that does not yield the yoke, the horse that resists the reins, the car without brakes, and a person who knows no self-control are all equally heading towards disaster.
We'll stop here.
And
Yeah, we'll stop here and go around for any reflection on what we have read. We can start with you, Vali, when you're ready.
I'll pass for now.
Okay. I mean, the one question I have is that Swami says that even when we are serving others, we are really serving only ourselves. So what do you think about this statement? You might alleviate the sufferings of other people, you might feed others, you might help them, but still, it is ultimately you're serving yourself, he says. So then how would we differentiate selfish activities, that in the worldly sense, selfish activities, from the selfishness that is attributed to the service activities? How would we differentiate that? Can anybody take a shot at that question? Or
Saram, this is Suresh. And coming back to your question, the first question, yourself, by serving others, you are serving yourself. I think the way I think is, maybe when you serve others, you lose, you leave aside your ego, then you become well grounded, you realize that other person, you see, yes, somebody's like you are seeing you in the other person. Therefore those are the things I thought, maybe yes, we may not directly relate the actual effect, but if you do that, you feel well grounded and equanimity, you will and there will not be any ego, those things, and that's my understanding. That's the way, you are serving your character, you are serving your moral values, you are serving your, that's my understanding.
Very good point. Very good. Anybody else would like to carry that thought further?
Saram, I think also since Swami says all are one, so by you serving, helping by serving food to others, you're essentially serving food to yourself. Because if you truly believe that everyone is one, whatever seva activity that you're doing, you're essentially helping that divine spark within yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. So, to some extent, that point also differentiates a purely selfish activity. Like, for example, if I hoard food for my sake, or if I prepare food only for myself, any of those activities are also selfish. They are not selfless. And but then if I do service, that is also to some extent called selfish. But the purpose they serve are very different. One, it mires me into further and further into ignorance if I do purely selfish activities, fulfilling my desires. If I do that, then it mires me deeper and deeper into the ignorance. It further takes me away from the journey that I want to progress towards, trying to understand the real life. Whereas the so-called service activities, even though it is done for others, but it takes you in the opposite direction of your journey from a purely selfish activity. So from that point of view, I think one is a sadhana. In service becomes a sadhana to purify you, to make you progress towards divinity. The other activity takes you in the opposite direction, even though both are in some sense selfish activities. Anybody else want to make any comment? Marjorie, you are quite involved in service activities. Maybe you can contribute your thoughts here.
Sairam, no, just like Tamesh said, we all are spark of the divine. So when you serve the others, you're serving God. That's what I think. The first reason. Second one is, yes, we get some sort of satisfaction. Okay, we have food 3 times a day, or even sometimes with the snacks 5 times a day. Tea, coffee, food is on the table. Whereas some people who don't have even a cup of coffee the whole day. So when you go and serve them, that, yes, give us some sort of satisfaction. You can't call it ego, because we all are God. So we are serving God, we are serving another person because we see God in them. So that gives you satisfaction, but I wouldn't call that an ego. And the third reason is, yes, we cannot serve everybody. There are so many people out there, but whatever we can do, we should do. That's my point. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we have time for some more reading. Unless somebody has more comments on what we have read, I will move on to the next passage that we want to read. Okay, who want to read this passage? Anybody want to volunteer? Dilip, you want to volunteer? Mm-hmm.
If you want, I can do that again.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. Yeah.
Which paragraph? Which one? I'm just trying
Have your vision steady and your will strong.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Have your vision steady and your will strong. 1 minute.
Yeah.
Okay. Follow regular sadhana in order to control the senses and the emotions. Do not pay heed to others who may ridicule you for your changed way of life. They may point you to others and laugh. Look at this man. He has become a great Sai Buddha. Look at him with his japa and bhajan. But have your vision steady and your will strong. Do not deviate. March straight on. There are some questions among those handed over to me on the name to be used in japa, whether Ramanamam or 5-lettered Namah Shivaya or 8-lettered Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, or whether I would suggest some other name. The scriptures have given a good answer for this. God is one without a second. You can adore him according to your own fancy and pleasure. He does not change. He is not changed. When the names you adore him by are changed, or the forms you picture him by are changed, we have many kinds of sweets, many names and forms, but sugar is the one substance that makes each one sweet. You may prefer one sweet hing over the other. You are welcome to prefer it, but do not condemn or prevent other preferences. God will assume the form for which you thirst. You may adore Krishna, for that name and form gives you the greatest joy, the maximum thrill, but do not find fault with the brother who worships the same God through mother name form. Rama, Shiva, or Vishnu, or any such other. He has much fight as you. He has as much fight as you to worship God in the form he likes. The effectiveness lies not in the mantra or in the name or form it is centered upon. It lies in the heart, in the yearning, in the thirst. God will assume the form and answer to the name for which you thirst. That is the measure of his grace. When the child in the cradle starts weeping and wailing, the mother who is on the terrace of the house will run down the steps to fondle it and feed it. She will not stop to discover whether the wail was in the correct key or in the proper note. So also the Supreme Mother of the universe will come down from her sovereign throne to fondle, caress, and console her child, provided the yearning comes spontaneously from a full heart, a pure heart. She will not investigate the correctness or the otherwise of the pronunciation of the mantra or the perfection of the picture formed in the mind of the divine ideal yearned for. It is a feeling in the heart that is the critical test, not the length of time devoted or amount of money spent. Be sincere in sadhana. Do not attempt to imitate others. Let it arise out of your own genuine yearning. You should not also be urged by competitiveness or the desire to show off. That Bhajan Mandali is conducting Nagar Sankirtanam twice a week. Let's also do it twice a week. Or let us do thrice a week. This kind of rivalry or exhibitionism has to be given up. There are others who desire to bring down units that are doing good work, but they cannot tolerate or suffer the fame that those units earned. So out of sheer malice, they try to harm or injure the units so that their good work may suffer. But There is another way of bringing those units down and making your units more light. The teacher draws a line on the backboard and asks any one of his pupils to come up to the board and without touching the line draw, make it shine, make it shorter. The pupils are puzzled, but the teacher shows them the way. Draw a longer line, little distance above it. The line is now the shorter of the two. Let your unit do more acts of service more efficiently to more people. That is the proper way to carry on the activities, not calumny or criticism, but work.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Suresh. Yeah, we have a few more minutes to reflect and make any comments. And Suresh, since you read it, if you want to offer those comments, we will move on.
No, I'll pass time this time. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I will just leave you all with one thought. Swami is saying that, whatever mantra you use, whatever names you use, it is going to the same Supreme God. You can address him with any mantra, But let us say that how do we reconcile this statement from the fact that we consider Gayatri Mantra as one of the greatest mantras? So how do we, if all mantras are same, all names are same, why should we attach relative importance, relatively more importance to Gayatri Mantra than any other mantras? That's one question I have. We might answer it in the next session. The second question I have is, Swami is also forgiving the fact that you don't have to pronounce it properly. It's just the cry from the child that will draw the mother to the child to come to the child's assistance. So why do we need proper intonation, proper spelling, or proper pronunciation of the mantras when God can hear your cry if it comes from your heart? So I think with these two thoughts that we might want to address it in the next week. And we will conclude with one Om and three Shantis. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om.
Ganesha Charanam Sharanam Ganesha 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 Satyam Jnanamanandam Brahma. Satyam Brahma. Jnanam Brahma. Anantam Brahma. Anantam Brahma. Satyam Jnanamanandam Brahma. Satyam Jnanamanandam Brahma. Satyam Jnanamanandam Brahma. Satyam Brahma. Jnanam Brahma. Anantam Brahma. Anantam Brahma. Satyam Jnanamanandam Brahma. Ghanashama Sundara. Ghanashama Sundara. Ghanashama Sundara. Ghanashama Sundara. Bansidhara Prabhu Krishna Kanhaiya. Bansidhara Prabhu Krishna Kanhaiya. Bansidhara Prabhu Krishna Kanhaiya. Bansidhara Prabhu Krishna Kanhaiya. तुम हो मेरे माँ बाप भैया. 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 घनश्यामा सुंदरा. घनश्यामा सुंदरा. देवकी तनया हे नंदलाला. देवकी तनया हे नंदलाला. देवकी तनया हे नंदलाला. देवकी तनया हे नंदलाला. दीनबांधवा द्वारकनाथा. दीनबांधवा द्वारकनाथा. दीनबांधवा द्वारकनाथा. दीनबांधवा द्वारकनाथा. राधा हृदय निवासा हरे कृष्णा. 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 मधुसूदना मुरलीधरा. मधुसूदना मुरलीधरा. मधुसूदना मुरलीधरा. मधुसूदना मुरलीधरा. पतीश्वरा सत्य साईश्वरा. पतीश्वरा सत्य साईश्वरा. पतीश्वरा सत्य साईश्वरा. पतीश्वरा सत्य साईश्वरा. घनश्यामा सुंदरा. घनश्यामा सुंदरा. बंसीधर प्रभु कृष्ण कन्हैया. बंसीधर प्रभु कृष्ण कन्हैया. तुम हो मेरे माँ बाप भैया. तुम हो मेरे माँ बाप भैया. घनश्यामा सुंदरा. घनश्यामा सुंदरा. देवकी तनया हे नंदलाला. देवकी तनया हे नंदलाला. दीनबांधवा द्वारकनाथा. दीनबांधवा द्वारकनाथा. राधा हृदय निवासा हरे कृष्णा. राधा हृदय निवासा हरे कृष्णा. मधुसूदना मुरलीधरा. ततीश्वरा सत्य साईश्वरा घनश्यामा सुंदरा
Subramanyam, Subramanyam, Shanmukanatha, Subramanyam,
Subramanyam Subramanyam Shanmukanatha Subramanyam
Subramanyam, Subramanyam, Shanmukanatha, Subramanyam,
Subramanyam Subramanyam Shanmukanatha Subramanyam
Subramanyam, Subramanyam, Sainatha, Subramanyam,
Subramanyam Subramanyam Sainatha Subramanyam
Subramanyam, Subramanyam, Sainatha, Subramanyam,
Subramanyam Subramanyam Sainatha Subramanyam
Subramanyam, Hara, Subramanyam,
Shiva 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 Subramanyam Hara Hara Subramanyam
Subramanyam, Hara, Subramanyam,
Shiva 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 Subramanyam Hara Hara Subramanyam
Shiv Hara, Subramanyam, Hara, Shiv Subramanyam,
Shiva Shiva Hara Hara Subramanyam Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Subramanyam
Shiv Hara, Subramanyam, Hara, Shiv Subramanyam,
Shiva Shiva Hara Hara Subramanyam Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Subramanyam
Shiv Saranam, Subramanyam, Guru Saranam, Subramanyam,
Shiva Sharanam Bhava Subramanyam Guru Sharanam Bhava Subramanyam
Shiv Saranam, Subramanyam, Guru Saranam, Subramanyam,
Shiva Sharanam Bhava Subramanyam Guru Sharanam Bhava Subramanyam
Shiv Hara, Subramanyam, Hara, Shiv Subramanyam,
Shiva Shiva Hara Hara Subramanyam Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Subramanyam
Shiv Hara, Subramanyam, Hara, Shiv Subramanyam,
Shiva Shiva Hara Hara Subramanyam Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Subramanyam
Subramanyam, Subramanyam, Shanmukanatha, Subramanyam,
Subramanyam Subramanyam Shanmukanatha Subramanyam
Subramanyam, Subramanyam, Sainatha, Subramanyam,
Subramanyam Subramanyam Sainatha Subramanyam
Shiv Subramanyam, Hara, Subramanyam,
Shiva 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 Subramanyam Hara Hara Subramanyam
Shiv Hara, Subramanyam, Hara, Shiv Subramanyam,
Shiva Shiva Hara Hara Subramanyam Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Subramanyam
Shiv Saranam, Subramanyam, Guru Saranam, Subramanyam,
Shiva Sharanam Bhava Subramanyam Guru Sharanam Bhava Subramanyam
Shiv Hara, Subramanyam, Hara, Shiv Subramanyam,
Shiva Shiva Hara Hara Subramanyam Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Subramanyam
Shiv Hara, Subramanyam, Hara, Shiv Subramanyam,
Shiva Shiva Hara Hara Subramanyam Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Subramanyam
Subramanyam, Subramanyam, Shanmukanatha, Subramanyam,
Subramanyam Subramanyam Shanmukanatha Subramanyam
Subramanyam, Subramanyam, Shanmukanatha, Subramanyam,
Subramanyam Subramanyam Shanmukanatha Subramanyam 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 Sayanatha Subramanyam Om Tat Sat Shri Narayana Purushottama Gurutu Sveta Bhotato Sandavinaya Savita Pavakato Savita Pavakato as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Sit in a comfortable position and keep your back straight. Gently close your eyes. Keep your mind and body calm and relaxed. Breathe in and out slowly. As you breathe in, say so. And as you breathe out, say hum. So, hum. So, hum. So, hum. Open your eyes. Look at the light steadily for a while. Now close your eyes. Picture and feel a light between your eyebrows at the center of your forehead. Your head is filled with the light. All your thoughts are filled with the light. May they be good thoughts. Bring the light down to your heart. Imagine that in the center of your heart there is a beautiful lotus. As the light enters the heart, the petals of the lotus open out one by one, bathing every thought, feeling, and emotion in the light. As the light spreads, bring it down to your hands. Let your hands be filled with the light. May these hands serve others with love and compassion. Bring the light down further through your body down to your legs and feet. Your feet are filled with the light. May these feet bring you only to good places to do good deeds. The light slowly rises up your throat and comes to rest on your tongue. May your tongue always speak only the truth. May your tongue always speak softly, sweetly, and lovingly to everyone. Bring the light to your ears. Your ears are filled with the light. May your ears hear only what is good and useful. May your ears listen to others with love and compassion. Bring the light to your eyes, so your eyes are filled with the light. May your eyes see only good things and the beauty in everything. May your eyes see the good in others. Bring the light to the top of your head. Let the light shine all around you in bigger and bigger circles. Radiate this light to all the people you love and know, to your family, friends, and even those who may have hurt you. Fill all the plants and animals with the light. Fill the whole world with the light. Repeat to yourself, I am in the light. The light is in me. I am the light. Bring the light back to the top of your head and bring it down to your heart. Keep the light and that feeling of peace within you throughout the day. When you are ready, gently open your eyes.
Sairam. The students think that their duty is only to be punctual when one attends college or school, and to be attentive during the lectures and other academic exercises. The teachers too consider their duty done when they attend during prescribed hours and perform the assignments allotted to them. This misconception has to be given up. Education has to be welcomed as a sadhana for the establishment of peace in the individual heart as well as in society. Education is a spiritual endeavor over which Goddess Saraswati presides. Saraswati is the Shakti of Brahma, the first member of the Trinity, and she is the source and sustenance of all creative activity. Gayatri, the vital Vedic mantra, which prays to the source of light to illumine the intellect of the aspirant, is also a facet of that Shakti. Gayatri Mantra is a universal, eternal call from the heart of man to the embodiment of love and light. It is the very basis of the educational effort in all lands and at all times. Divine Discourse, July 6, 1975. Baba.
Satya
Saira. Saram everyone, and there are a couple of announcements I would like to. Are you able to hear? Kamish?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Saram everyone, and a couple of announcements. One is the selection process for new officers. They are streamlining it more formal way this year. And in fact, in our center, all the positions, officers' positions, except the SSC coordinator, all others have completed 1 year. In fact, the vice president, he has just started. Therefore, they have not completed couple of years, but even with that, it has to go through this formal nomination process. I will explain in a couple of sentences. In the sense, they want the center to create a selection committee. The president will nominate a selection committee, and that committee will be, the list of names will be sent to regional president. And anyone would like to nominate any person has to do it in SSIO website there is a link which we can give, and that is where you have to do the nomination. Either it can be an anonymous nomination or with the name. You can suggest any names. You can do that, and that whenever that list is coming out, that
We've gotten so good over the summer when we spent time together. And now look at what you're doing.
That list has to be will be given to the selection committee, and selection committee will look at that options. Anyone, if they have not muted, can you please? I don't know. There is some other voice, and the list will be sent to the selection committee, and they will talk to the persons and then identify the names for the officers, and it will be sent to the region for confirmation. That's what they want to make it a very formalized manner this time. And again, as we mentioned, I haven't checked with other officers. But so far, all other officers have not completed the 2 terms. Therefore, they are eligible to be part of the second that is another 2 years term. But still, if center members wanted any change in the leadership or the president or any other leadership, they can still do that by nominating somebody else. But selection committee will do their due diligence and decide on how to do that. That's what the process is. And we are in the process of sending the list to the regional president by end of today or tomorrow. And similarly, the young adults also, they said that the process has to be similar, young adult representatives. And that's the reason, in the directive, they indicated that the committee should also have a young adult representative. Therefore, I will send that list to them, and we'll send a detailed email to the center members so that, you can act accordingly. That is the first announcement. The second one is, we have already sent the survey or the questionnaire for all the people about returning to in-person bhajans. And the survey result has come, and Purnima has put it in a PowerPoint, and she has just sent it. She received it today, and will have an officers will be most likely discussing that by tomorrow. Therefore, based on that, we'll take whatever the officers decide to do, then we can take it further from there. And we'll definitely by middle of next week or during the next week Saturday, we'll definitely inform the course what we would like to go further. And that is what it is. And any other, if you have anything else, Kamish, please go ahead. And Maji, if you have anything, please go ahead.
Saram. So as we said last week, there's a possibility that we will be doing a Khan Bhajan slot for about 3 hours. The regional slot, on the regional level or the national level, they'll be doing it from 5 to 8. So it will still work out during our regular bhajan session if we do it from 2 to 5. If everyone is in agreement, or if anyone has any comments, please bring that up. And then we can accommodate that naturally. There is another thing that came up for Ladies' Day, which is November 19th. A couple of ladies came up and said, we want to celebrate. So I believe that's on a Thursday. So we would have the bhajans led by the ladies. So any ladies that would like to lead any bhajans, please get in contact with me or Chana or one of us, and we can tell you how to make that happen. Suresh mentioned the poll, and yeah, once again, if anyone would like to lead bhajans for the regular sessions, please do contact, and we'll accommodate you and explain the process. Sarah.
Sairam everyone, I have a couple of announcements. The blanket project is going very well with Swami's grace. We have collected almost 100 now. We reached the goal of 95. It's over now. But still the deadline is November 16th. So I cannot say no to anybody who still wants to donate, which will be fine. And also I'm collecting some granola bars. The deadline is October 28th, which is Wednesday, because I'm going to deliver it on the 29th Thursday. So if anybody is interested in donating some granola bars for the FONB, please, you can drop it at my house, or you can drop it straight at the FONB location. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you. We'll end with one moment, Sri Shanti, one of you. Tamish, you can, then we'll end, instead of abruptly ending it.
Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Tamish?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Dilip Patel. I'm not able to join again the thing to discuss when Vijay Raghavan was talking about. I couldn't join it, and you came in last time, but I tried to click on those different logo, different. So Ajay is here to help me out, and he's. I think now I can communicate. He put some speaker where I can the microphone and with my earphone. So then I connected in my computer. I can now communicate with you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Glad it worked out.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Saram.
Thank you, Ajay. Thank you, Saram.